KFAN, Fan Radio Network, and KFAN.com. It's 2 minutes and 13 seconds past the hour, 3 o'clock Central Daylight Time. We welcome you back to a Thursday edition of the Bumper to Bumper program on a, I think, still fairly moist, high dew point-ish Thursday afternoon here in the Twin Cities that we refer to affectionately as Minneapolis and St. Paul. My name is Dan Barreiro, former Inkstand Wretch, newspaper of the Twin Cities. Guardsy is the producer of the broadcast, two-time state high school tennis champion to boot. And we are delighted that you are here for a very busy show today that will include Dr. Dan's Inbox. We tentatively are putting that in at 5:30. Perhaps that will give you, the listener, a little bit more time, the creative ones amongst you, to contribute. Email jg@kfan.com. That is the email address, jg@kfan.com. Fertile ground, I think, again, available to you. So for the moment, we'll keep that at 5:30, right after Fox 9 intrepid reporter Paul Bloom joins. He's scheduled for 5:15. Top 5 at 5 will precede that. We expect Lindsay Whalen at 4. Originally, we'd hoped it was going to be in studio. Now it looks like it's going to be by telephone. Lindsay Whalen, now assistant coach for your hottest team in ball, Minnesota Lynx. Lynx are back in action. Is it tomorrow on the road? Isn't it a showdown with Vegas tomorrow night?
Saturday night.
Saturday night, okay.
Yes, Saturday night. Today's Thursday, right?
That's true.
Yep, Saturday.
Okay, Saturday against defending champions, right? Vegas?
Mm-hmm.
So that might be, I'm assuming that's got to be a national game. Doesn't it? Maybe not. I don't know how many national WNBA games there are right now.
There's quite a few.
I feel like there's more than there used to be.
Yeah, there's quite a few. I'm pulling it up just to see.
I bet you it's got to be Saturday afternoon, second game of the doubleheader, perhaps even.
It's a 7 o'clock tip.
Oh.
But it is on CBS.
CBS.
Yes, and Paramount Plus. It's a Commissioner's Cup game.
CBS Network?
Yeah.
Oh.
According to Links.com.
Okay, good enough. That's great. So Whalen at about 4, and Russo Radio in about 10 minutes. The Stanley Cup championship round continues tonight back in Carolina, correct?
Yes.
The series is knotted at 2-2. Russo will file a live report, and we'll certainly talk about some Minnesota Wild developments in addition to Cup Talk. And email now if you'd like. If you have questions for Russo, Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line is 64686. My favorite quote from last night after the greatest comeback in the history of the National Basketball Association final round, and one of the greatest, period, came from your guy and my guy, a guy who, quite frankly, seemed to have disappeared again for significant portions of yesterday's game, last night's game, Knicks hosting Spurs, in no small measure because he had 2 fouls in about 8 seconds early.
Yeah.
But Karl-Anthony Towns, for me, the best quote, and it's not a lengthy quote, but it was a very majestic quote, which I thought kind of fit the occasion. And the occasion, of course, was the Anunoby tip of the century, one could say, that obviously became or was the winning basket in this improbable, absurd New York Knickerbocker come-from-behind victory. And Kat referred to it as simply the right hand of God. I mean, that says it all, doesn't it? It's very, very... Now, maybe for some people it's too religious. I don't even think it should matter. It's just a really good quote. That's what it reminded him of. And pound for pound, I will tell you, I'm gonna basically turn all of the recency bias stuff on its head. And I'm going to play to it. And I'm going to say, for me, as a basketball purist, an NBA playoffs purist, that the Anunoby tap with the game on the line off of a missed Brunson shot is the most memorable late game heroics I've ever seen. Memorable not because we've obviously seen others that are memorable that are shots made, right? Jumpers made, turnaround shots made, drives to the basket made. But how often, if ever, and there have been tips before, but how often in the NBA Finals have we had a tip that starts with him catapulting himself from beyond the free throw circle to anticipate the miss, to at least put himself in a position that if the shot is not good, he's going to have an honest shot to do something about it. He's got to have some luck, right? Because it's got to come off where it came off.
Right.
But to make that kind of explosive move from way out beyond the circle, to time it perfectly, to then have the proper touch. Touch matters on tips, as you well know. All of that, that's right hand of God stuff. That's exactly, to me, what it looked like. And that's why it stands out for late game dramatics with championships basically on the line because of the unusual nature of what he did and what it took for him to get to that spot. Anunoby was the star of the show almost start to finish. We're going to have his college coach on, we think, tomorrow, correct? Tom Crean. We were hoping to get him today, but he's got a very busy schedule today. I'm very much looking forward to that visit. He's one of those fly under the radar kinds of guys. But last night, even in his interviews, you'd have thought it was a midseason game. Yeah. That's just, I think, his personality.
It is.
But terrific player, had an outstanding game, and of course, I haven't even gotten to the block shot.
Right.
So you can also say, well, don't limit it just to the tip. As a combo of two plays in the championship round, how back to back, basically, how do you top the defensive play to save it and the offensive play to win it? That's stuff from which legends are born.
I'd give him credit for the inbound pass to Brunson, too, because that was
true. Yes.
We saw the Spurs couldn't get their inbound pass in. Cat tipped it. That was a big deal.
That's true.
And then Wemby left him, so what did he do? I'm crashing, baby.
Absolutely, and did it very, very well. So I, like a lot of people, still can't quite believe what I saw. I don't think you have to be a basketball fan. I don't think you have to be a Knicks fan or a Spurs hater. I guess you could be, but you don't have to get into the theater of what took place in an historic arena. Yes, that's part of the story, too. Madison Square Garden, where for most of 3 quarters, the fans were just looking around at each other like, I can't believe this is happening. We're going back to San Antonio Davey 2-2, and it's not even going to be close. Biggest lead, 29?
Yeah.
27 at the half, 29 overall, and with a great deal of cooperation from the other team, they got the thing done. The sequence for me on the Barca was Giovanzi just had her last day of school yesterday. She was up half the night, studying the night before, so she's crashing. She's tired. She's very interested in this series. She's very interested in the playoffs now. And she starts dozing, and she falls asleep. And then it's like, well, what do I do? Do I wake her up as this historic comeback is ensuing right in front of our eyes? We could have NBA playoffs for another 50 years and not have that kind of comeback. Admittedly, now easier to have those kinds of comebacks because we're in the three-point era. More on that in a minute. But I'm debating, do I wake her up or not? And I said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tape it. And then when she wakes up, if it's over by then, because I'm now anticipating, well, the Knicks have to win. It's come this far. The Knicks have to win. The basketball gods will not allow the Spurs to steal this thing this way. That is flying in the face of, that's mocking the theater that you've just created, right? So instead, Russell, she kind of half wakes up without me trying to wake her up. And she's looking around, and I said, gee, the Knicks are down 3. And she said, what? Dad, I just fell asleep a minute ago, and they were down 17. I said, I know. That's kind of how it felt. And so then, at that point, she stayed up and watched the rest of it, too. But that's it. I mean, this is one of those all-timers that I think if you didn't watch it, you regret that you have FOMO. You tweeted out your FOMO was not being in the building.
I can't even imagine.
Because I can't either.
The one camera shot where the camera was shaking.
Yes.
You can't even imagine.
Yeah.
And the celebrity part of it is a big part of it. Just acting like idiot children. Have you seen the Larry David when Josh Hart misses the shot?
Like the rest of us.
Yes.
Yes.
It's so good.
There's nothing better for superstar celebrities than looking as foolish and devastated and annoyed as the rest of us, right? It humanizes them in a way that nothing else likely does.
And in fact, I think the top 5 at 5 today will be the top 5, if I can find 5, explanations, interviews, reactions from New York celebrities that were in the crowd last night. Because it's fun to hear them go through it like we're going through it for our teams.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. Did we play the Spurs in the playoffs this year?
We did. We lost in 6.
Did we ever get behind by 20, 25, 29
Game 6.
At home?
Game 6, we were down a lot.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, and then we cut it at half and then went right back to being down by a lot. I think we were down by 30-something in the second half.
Is that right? So it's not necessarily that the Spurs are not capable of looking unraveled. It's we couldn't do that to them. Okay, just checking. That wasn't exactly sure, but now I think I am. Let's get our first pause in and prepare for some hockey conversation with our guy, Russo Radio. That series is knotted at 2-2, just like we thought it was going to be, given the position that the Spurs had put themselves in, but they couldn't finish it. So we'll go to a series that is preparing for the pivotal Game 5 tonight. That will be the discussion with Russo and some Wild Talk next as well.
You're listening to Barreiro.
Number 5, they call it pivotal in a best of 7, tied 2-2. Our next guest, Russo Radio, filing a live report from the scene in Carolina, joins us via the Connecticut Water Systems Hotline. Russo Radio, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, we're doing well. How have you held up logistically? How is travel these days when you're at Stanley Cup final level? Is it smooth these days? You've done it forever, so my assumption is you have it down to a science, but I don't even know how many people travel to these games anymore based on the newspaper industry, especially.
Yeah, it's not as much as yesteryear, that's for sure. I used to, my first couple years at the Strip, I covered the Stanley Cup Finals, and I did every one when I was at the Sun Sentinel, and then you take some time off. But yeah, right. I mean, unless you're local, there's no traveling writers.
Yeah.
That's pretty sure. I mean, there's still a bunch of people traveling, but it's certainly not the way that it used to be. A lot of rights holders, a lot of Canadian press. But in terms of actual beat writers, unless you're in North Carolina or Vegas, I'm trying to think. I can't think of one other beat writer from a major
world.
daily that's covering. So yeah, it's a real shame. The Athletic, we have 5 covering, so that's been awesome. So hang out with a lot of teammates, quote unquote. And in terms of the actual travel, so far so good. Knock on wood. Did lose one bag on the way to Vegas. Somehow one bag made it from Atlanta to Vegas, but I've been traveling with 2 because I've been gone for 2-3 weeks. And that second bag somehow didn't make it, but I eventually found it. So, but in terms of the actual flights, everything's been hunky-dory so far. Luckily, because I'm flying Delta, and going through Atlanta, the folks flying United that went through Chicago yesterday, I guess there was horrific storms there, and a lot of people had trouble getting to Raleigh.
All right, so as we approach Game 5 tonight, what for Russo Radio is the biggest surprise that has reared its head in this series to this point?
Well, 33 goals combined.
Yeah.
I mean, these were two of the best defensive teams in the league this year, especially, in terms of penalty kill and goaltending and all of that. And it's just been anything but. No lead has been safe. All 4 games, there have been unbelievable multi-goal blown leads by both teams. And it's been really incredibly exciting hockey. I mean, it's definitely one of the best Stanley Cup Finals, if not best, that I've ever covered through 4 games. I mean, watching Carolina. Well, I mean, just think about 2 games ago. Carolina gives up 4 goals in the second period, and then they rally back with 3 goals in 30-something seconds and tie it up late with an extra attacker to make it 4-4 and put that game in overtime. Last game, they blew the lead, and all of a sudden, they were able to recover. So it's just been an unbelievably good hockey series so far. Exciting if you like goals and if you like bad goaltending and poor defense, this is the series for you so far.
Well, I'm looking at a tweet you reposted from one of your compadres, Jesse Granger. Is this the worst Stanley Cup Final goaltending of the NHL cap era? Is that a legitimate question, or is that sensationalizing the story a little?
No, it is not. I mean, statistically, it's definitely near there. Carter Hart is the first goalie in NHL history to give up at least 4 goals in the first 4 games of a Stanley Cup Final, and Freddie Anderson gave up 12 in his 3, 6, 8 periods of hockey, and we haven't seen him since. And now, I mean, it's just mysterious where he's been. He's been skating before practices, not with them. And now it looks like he's not even going to dress for the second game in a row. So clearly he's dealing with something, after getting hit hard in game 3 and then giving up a boatload of goals. So, it has not been a great goaltending display by either team so far. Yet there have been big saves. I mean, yeah, but no doubt this has definitely been a leaky series and an exciting one.
Questions for Russo, Bradshaw and Brian. KFAN text line is open at 646-86. And by the way, if I can deviate for a moment, you might actually even get a kick out of this, Russo. For the, I believe, 11th consecutive day, the lead, well, it's not the lead story, but one of the big stories, ESPN, NFL, this is their hour for NFL stuff, is the Kyler Murray, J.J. McCarthy quarterback competition. We have become the center of the world. It's amazing how, in the case of national media outlets, I guess it's a good story, a juicy one, so they kind of keep going back to it. Guardsy, right on cue. They didn't lead with it today, but there it is. They're debating the same thing they debated yesterday.
Center of the football universe.
It's a remarkable thing is what it is. All right, let's move forward then, Russo. Game 5 tonight. We like to call it pivotal. It can be. I don't think it has to be necessarily. But if I asked you who you believe at this moment has the upper hand in the series, which team would it be?
I think Carolina's played better, but I think Vegas right now, still because of its experience, is in the upper hand. And it just seems like these two teams are unable to beat each other 2 times in a row. So I expect that Vegas, is going to come out and play a really quality game tonight. But I will say, I mean, this has been one series where it's just been impossible to get a handle on. There's been no momentum swings from game to game. As I mentioned, up and down play. No lead is safe. It's been crazy to watch the blown leads in this game. If you're a Wild fan that watched the Wild blow that 3-0 lead in the final game of that, you understand that was not an anomaly. This is something that happens a lot in today's game, but especially this series. So I still like Vegas to win this series. I picked Canes to begin with, but there's something about this Vegas team that they just seem to figure it out. They are the ultimate find-a-way team. They've been outplayed a lot in the playoffs and a lot this series, and yet they always seem to find a way. So I still like them. I'll be interested to see if Brandon Busty is a little more at ease tonight. I thought he looked nervous at times last game, making his Stanley Cup playoff debut. And there's still a bunch of guys on the Carolina Hurricanes that have just not been able to really sustain any offensive output throughout. And they're all their top guys. Sebastian Aho, Svechnikov has just not been good. So luckily for them, they're getting an incredible performance so far in this series from Jordan Staal. But really, there's a bunch of guys that need to start putting the puck in the net.
If Vegas follows suit and ends up winning this thing, which is certainly a good possibility, what are the instructive, crucial lessons that their run would represent as far as your Minnesota Wild club is moving forward?
I mean, I think their blue line is just so much bigger, and I still think that's the area where the Wild need to figure out a way to get bigger and better. It's hard to do that because a lot of their guys are locked in, until maybe a Jared Spurgeon ages out, or a Jonas Brodin or a Jake Milton starts to play better. Maybe it's not as big of an issue. But if Brock Faber, he's not huge, but he's built like a tank, and they still have Quinn Hughes, who's one of the best defenseman in the league that they're trying to re-sign forever. And you're obviously not putting a bunch of height and weight on him. So it is what it is there. So there are multiple ways to win. The other way is up the middle. I mean, they are just really, really deep up the middle. We saw it in the Colorado series. We're seeing it now in the Vegas series. When you have really, really good centermen, it really helps drive the bus, so to speak. But look, I mean, Carolina's kind of the opposite. You look at them, and Aho is probably a 2 on most teams, and then they have a bunch of 3s. It's in a lot of ways, it's the way the Wild are built, and yet they're here in the Stanley Cup Final. So there are definitely different ways that you could build a team, but that's why the Wild are going after Dylan Larkin and are making it a point to, at least if it's not Dylan, try to get another really top quality center, because they realize I think some of their deficiencies right now.
A lot of good texts are coming in, and I'm getting this one repeated several times. Can Russo give any update on the post-FanDuel TV dilemma, Wild television programming moving forward next season?
Yeah, Anthony and I do a podcast together, and LaPanta the other day on our podcast basically said that he thinks that the Wild would have loved to have announced this by now, but it's a complicated process, and you got to get a lot of things, really, in order before you can really announce things. I've been talking to people in the Wild for the last month, and every time I talk to them, they just said they're a week or 2 out, and that continues to get sort of pushed back. I think they want to, when they announce everything, they want to make sure that everything is buttoned up, one, secured, obviously legally, but 2, make sure that everything, all their I's are dotted and their T's are crossed in terms of how it's all going to work. I still largely suspect that there's going to be a mix of streaming and over the air. I think they really want to have some component of over the air because of the reality is that if you have a streaming mechanism, you still are not going to be getting the eyeballs that you want throughout the state, and if people aren't willing to pay. So, they want to get their product out to as many people as possible. So I think there's going to be streaming involved. I think it's going to be over the air. Obviously, this is a huge loss for them financially to not have FanDuel. It's also a huge cost to produce their own games, so they're trying to work all that stuff out. So we'll see here. I do expect that the Wild are going to have some sort of announcement here at some point, hopefully soon. Do you have any interest in talking your guy Fallness off the edge of the cliff on one issue in particular? Not really.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask it anyway.
Although if he's going to go off the cliff, that'd be kind of interesting.
It would actually. That's true. Well, he was on. PA was off today, so it was Nordo, and Fallness was in studio at least for part of the show. And Fallness,
that had to be good radio.
It was compelling. I couldn't turn it off. And one of the things that seemed to be bothering Fallness is, well, why isn't the Zuccarello deal done already? There's nothing that should be holding it up. And does that mean he actually is considering retirement? He seemed very concerned that we don't yet have a Zuccarello deal announced. Do you want to make him feel
I don't
better
think
or worse?
Considering retirement. I don't. I take him for his word that at the end of the year he thinks he has game left, and so if he doesn't re-sign here, I don't think he's retiring. I think the interest is mutual to have him come back, but I think that suddenly The Wild have a lot of different balls in the air trying to make trades, and I think that they do not want to commit yet to exactly, what Zuccarello is willing to sign for, or even just having the roster spot secured. So I just think there's some debate right now. I think a lot of it has to do with the balls in the air, as I just mentioned, and the fact that they're trying to make other moves. I do think they have also been debating if whether or not it might be time to move on, that if they can, get younger or faster up on that line, that might help, that maybe sometimes Kirill is a little too dependent on him, and it's time to sort of cut that cord. I can tell you, I was talking to somebody today for a story that I'm going to be working on in Dylan Larkin this week. Dylan is a shooter. He's not a playmaker. And, so if Dylan comes here, if they get that deal done and you put him on the top line with Kirill Kaprizov, but you don't have Zuccarello back, there's going to be a deficiency there in terms of a playmaker. So I still think that it makes sense that if they can get him done at a quality, reasonable price, that it makes sense having him back no matter who is on this team, whether it's Dylan Larkin at 8.7 or something else. But I just think they have so many balls in the air right now that they've sort of hit the break there. I will say that I agree with Fallness, where I thought this thing was just going to get done right after the season once each of them expressed mutual interest. But obviously the fact that it's not done yet, I think this is not, I don't think Matt's thinking I'm going to retire. I think this is more the Wild have not been in a position yet where they feel like they can comfortably sign him until they know some other things that they're trying to get done.
Louis, like a lot of people, likes Larkin, but he also adds that if you have to give up Volstead to get him, he ain't doing that. Do you agree?
Yeah, and I don't think that they want to. I think that they would do it if they can get like a Kosa back, if they liked Kosa better than Volstead.
Right.
But with Gustafson's situation right now, I just don't think they want to give up Volstead. So everything I hear is that he would not be in the type of trade that they're looking to make. But I also, which is why I just wonder if they're going to need to get some sort of third team involved. Larkin's agent, Pat Brisson, who also happens to be Quinn Hughes' agent and the agent for a ton of, incredible players in the NHL, from Sidney Crosby to Macklin Celebrini and so on and so on. He's got a lot of experience in helping teams broker three-way deals and deals in particular, specifically, whether it's two-way or three-way deals. So I do think at some point, Pat is going to probably get involved in this if the Detroit Red Wings give him permission, and maybe that could be something to help the Wild to make the move. Because right now, if the Wild are just going to put a package together, there's no way that their package could be as good as a Florida who might give up an Anton Liddell, a Dallas who might give up a Jason Robertson, Anaheim who's willing to give up, who knows? McTavish and so on and so forth. So if you can have a three-way deal and you have other teams, sort of help broker this, I think that would work in a lot of ways. But right now, from what I understand, the Wild are thinking futures, and I just don't know if that solely is going to interest Detroit. There's no doubt that the Wild, I think, would offer Urov, Stramel, and a first for Dylan Larkin. Is that enough to get it done? Does Detroit really want to do a rebuild on its rebuild in that type of scenario? It just seems like other teams are going to be able to beat the Wild's package unless they can get a third team involved to help turn this thing into a multi-layered type of trade. So I don't think Volsted's involved. I also, the one thing I'm hearing from lots of sources the last couple of days is that they would not be willing to put Eriksson Ek in the deal, which for the obvious reason. If you throw Eriksson Ek in the Dylan Larkin deal, now suddenly you're a top six center away again.
Yep.
So I don't think that, and that's why it's like if you're not going to throw in those type of players, then,
you might not get
a guy that can help them now, I think it's just going to be a hard trade to make.
McCarron re-signs. So is it 6-year, $20 million? I assume you kind of expected he would be back. What do we make of that deal? A couple people were complaining via text yesterday that it was too much or too long, or how should we evaluate the deal itself?
Well, the length of the deal is sort of, artificial. It's a way to get the cap hit down. There'd be ways to get rid of him at the end of the contract and things like that. So to me, I don't look at the term. I think the price is actually a lot less than I thought they'd get him for. He would have gotten so much more on the open market. First of all, I mean, look, I agree that, a couple of years ago, the idea of Michael McCarron at $3.3 million would be unheard of. But in a summer where there are literally no centers available, he would have been absolutely sought after by several teams. And there are teams out there, several that are trying to get to the cap floor even, that would give him $4 or $5 million. So to get him at 3.3 for the number of things that he did for this team in terms of winning faceoffs, which we all know is a perennial problem, to helping them kill penalties, to even scoring the odd goal. Suddenly if you had Larkin, Eriksson, McCarron 1 through 3 with a Hartman in there somewhere, that's a pretty good lineup in terms of centers or putting one on the wing. Being Hartman, obviously. So I just think that this was just the way that things were going. You add a center like this, and for as little center depth as the Wild have, for the fact that nobody's out there this offseason, you just knew that he was going to get paid this offseason. And for the Wild to get him at such a discount based on what other teams would have paid him, I just think actually it's a really quality deal. So I think that people just need to understand this isn't the old days now. He still comes in at less than Jakub Trenyan, and he's a center. So that's a pretty good contract. So they got him for less than Marcus Foligno. So I actually think the contract's pretty good.
Johansson signing with Sweden, you expected that?
I knew that it would either be the Wild or Sweden, and I think this was a total family decision. The Wild were willing to bring him back. He could have gotten more money elsewhere as well. I talked to his agent. So I think that this was just a family decision. I was a little surprised just based on the fact that after the season, he made it sound like he wanted his NHL career to continue. But clearly, to go back to his home and play there, I think that was very appealing to him, get his kids into school and things like that. There are certain Europeans that when they come here, they never leave. Marcus was one guy that we always knew was going back to Sweden at some point when his career ended. And so I think this is something to let his family see him play his twilight years. And so now the Wild will have to figure out a way to replace him, whether that's internally or externally.
646 guy writes, I love watching this hockey series. I grew up in Minnesota, went to many playoff games at the Met. I just pulled up the 1991 series between the Stars and Penguins and was blown away at how much slower and less physical the game was back then. It's amazing how much bigger, faster, and more physical it is now, and it's not even close. And it's true. I mean, you could say it about a lot of sports. It's sort of the nature of it. But sometimes it is worth going back to look, and it does almost at times look. You feel like you're watching something going on at half speed or three-quarter speed.
Yeah, I've been hanging out with a lot of the referees in this series. There's 4 of them that rotate, and I'm buddies with all of them. And we've been talking about just the speed of the series, and a couple of these guys also did the Olympics, and it was the same thing there. I mean, this is one fast sport right now. A lot of it is because the league did a tremendous job of getting rid of clutching and grabbing, and the players have adjusted. Now it is if you extend your stick and you hook somebody on the hands, you're usually going to the box for hooking. In the old days, you could basically bear hug guys and stop them, and it's not like that anymore. And it's created an immensely fast, exciting product on the ice, and we've seen it. But I'm totally with you. Like I covered those starting in the mid '90s, those early Florida Panther teams, and the speed of the game. I mean, I remember when Pavel Barreiro was traded to the Panthers, and he got a breakaway his first game on Long Island, and we almost fell out of the press box. It felt like we had covered the team for 5 years and hadn't seen a breakaway. It's a different world, these superstar players now. And if you can't skate, you can't play in this league. That's for sure.
By the way, on Gus, do we know enough about the whatever surgery he had that we think he is going to be ready for the start of training camp, or not so much? Do we know yet where that's at?
Yeah, Bill has definitely not given a firm update publicly. Even though when I was filling in for PA about 2-3 weeks ago, he actually said on the air that he would have an announcement shortly. I don't know if it just fell through the cracks or they decided not to announce it or he forgot. Everything I'm hearing is that he is going to miss the start of the season, that he could be out till maybe even November. So if that's the case, it put them in a position where, 1, you can't trade with Wallstedt, and 2, they're going to most likely have to really sign a really quality number 3 that could play games in the NHL and then probably slide through waivers. That they're going to feel comfortable, and that's never a guarantee. Look at the guy that's starting tonight for the Carolina Hurricanes, Brandon Bussey. Florida Panthers tried to slide him through waivers in October. He was claimed by Carolina Hurricanes, and now he's starting in the Stanley Cup Final. So it's going to be a tricky thing. The Wild are going to have to get a goalie on free agency day, but they're going to need that goalie to somehow slide through waivers once Gus is back. So it's going to be an interesting decision on the type of player that they can get.
Last item for today. Is it at all conceivable, based on all the limitations you've laid out in terms of who they would be willing to deal, who might be appealing to other teams, and the price that you're going to have to pay, that after all the fanfare and all the buildup, that this team could essentially be pretty close to the same when we start the season, and that it is more likely that there might be if there's going to be a more what we classify as signature move, that it might not be until into the regular season?
Absolutely. I mean, look, there is no hockey player store that you could just go out and get whoever you want when they're available. You got to go with the guys that are available at the time in the trade market. And right now, the only one that we 100% know that is available is Dylan Larkin. Then, in terms of a 2 to 3, Vincent Trocheck. From there, maybe a Nico Hischier, and we don't know if he's going to resign or not with the New Jersey Devils yet. So if you have all these different, what was working in favor of the Wild with Dylan Larkin is he was one of 3 teams, reportedly Vegas, Minnesota, and Florida. But I could tell you with 100% certainty that Steve Yzerman has gone to his agent, Pat Brisson, and asked them to expand the list, and that is in the process of being done. I think Dylan's going to be he's going to make some sort of compromise with them where he adds 3 or 4 other teams. So now suddenly, if the Wild are up against 5 or 6 or 7 teams that have better assets, it just makes it a lot more difficult. So 100%, if they don't get Larkin and they still don't want to give up the price that it would take to get Vincent Trocheck, they're going to have to wait. And that's just the reality of it. But what Bill Guerin showed last season is that he's willing to make the move at some point. We saw it happen they didn't make the move for the center last July 1. And we know they're not going to be able to make a move for a center on this July 1 unless it's via trade. So then he went and pivoted and got Quinn Hughes in December. If all of a sudden an Austin Matthews or a Connor McDavid or a Jack Hughes or a Hischier or something like that becomes available in the middle of next season or beyond, I think that he would pounce on that. So I do think it's important that he doesn't just, if he strikes out on Larkin, doesn't just throw away some of these assets on an inferior player, because what we are definitely seeing here with Volstad being untradeable right now with the Gus injury is that it just takes a major asset away. And if you're going to throw away a Europe and Screamo on an inferior deal, it's just going to make it a lot harder to make that big impact, big game hunt deal at a later time. So long story there, but yeah, absolutely. If they don't get Larkin, I could see this going to next season.
I have a wonderful time in Raleigh. I'm assuming it's rather steamy in Raleigh this time of year.
Oh my goodness, it's worse. Because of the humidity. It's so much worse than Vegas. I saw the feels like temperature today is 105, and there's a watch party outside the rink. I can't even imagine what
a sauna
disgusting that is going to be like.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I just spent a week in Vegas, 5 days, and it was 100 degrees there, and it felt nothing like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the reason why I left Florida.
I'm with you on that, man. Dew point changes everything. Yeah. Appreciate you. Have fun tonight. We will be in touch. Thanks, Russo.
Yep. See you, Dan.
Russo Radio. Dateline Raleigh, North Carolina, Game 5 tonight. Stanley Cup Final. You can hear it right here on the Fan with the series all knotted at 2 games apiece.
You're listening.
Join Nordo and KFAN for a Team USA watch party tomorrow night. B-52s in Inver Grove Heights. Catch USA versus Paraguay kicking off 8 p.m. Games, prizes, drink specials, all while rooting for the red, white, and blue. B-52 Burgers and Brew tomorrow night, Inver Grove Heights.
So I don't know if this is a little bit ode to a dead guy, although it's not a guy in this case, and breaking news. So, but it's ode worthy as well.
And now it's time for Ode to a Dead Guy.
For some of us, it's the end of a fast food era. BringMeTheNews.com confirming that Minnesota's last Long John Silver's location is no more.
Wow.
Mall of Hysteria, apparently that location has now closed.
Was that in the main food court?
It was.
Yeah, the original food court.
And apparently the previous one, there was one in Mankato that closed in 2025. I don't remember any others recently, like in the Twin Cities. I've kidded about the combo platter on the road to Chicago.
In Toma,
where it's a combo platter, or it was. I don't even know if that's still open. LJS and A&W.
Right.
It's a combination of both of those.
I think that one's been closed a while.
I think you're probably right.
Right after the pandemic.
How many in our audience are familiar with the Long John Silver's menu? Because I happen to have it called up here.
I'm ready.
My favorite, without any question, back in the day, back in the Indiana University days, Bozich and me walking to Long John Silver's right on the edge of campus, and I would invariably get the treasure chest. And the beauty of the treasure chest was you get some chicken and you get some fish, too. That was the combination.
Best of both worlds.
Fish and chips, peg legs, slaw, although I wasn't a coleslaw guy.
Me neither.
$1.85. Now, there were other options. Are you familiar with the peg legs?
No.
Because that was just the chicken, and obviously, basically what we call drummies today.
Circling back, Treasure Chest, I feel like, is one of the strip clubs Kessler's reported from. But go ahead.
There's a backstory to that, too.
I'm sure there is.
Probably right.
Yeah.
Fish and chips, $1.59. Kind of speaks for itself. They had fried shrimp. If you're willing to pay a little bit more, $2.49. So an extra, 70 cents from the treasure chest. Perhaps you were a big oysters fan. Tender oysters, $2.39. I occasionally tried the fried clams and chips, $1.79. Fried clams underrated back in the day.
That is brave. That's brave.
It really is bold, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then there's this is if you haven't eaten in a week or you don't care. You're just in the mood for gluttony. There was the so-called pieces of 8. 8 pieces of fish, fried fish, for $4.69. I don't think I ever got that. And I'm looking at the pictures. It looks sumptuous from back then. This is a menu from, I don't know how far back this menu goes. Got to be 80s, I think. This menu, I think, is from the 80s that I happen to be looking at. But brilliantly presented. It all looks so good. And now if I had to do over again, I think I might have gone less to the treasure chest and more to the peg legs. Or maybe getting 2 peg leg dinners. Because you'd get the chicken drummies. Obviously, you would get the fries. And you know the most decadent part of the LJS experience? They would also, in the bottom, like under the food and the fries, there would be a bunch of just leftover fried breading.
Which is great.
Which is really good for you.
Yeah, healthy.
And I can remember to this day looking forward to, even when I'm done with the chicken, done with the fish, done with the fries, underneath there, dessert, all of that grease.
Just waiting for you.
Just waiting for you.
Good job, buddy boy. Here's your reward.
That's just devastating.
Did you say how many are left even in the country?
I did not say. I'm guessing, is it over for LJS in general?
It's probably not going great, given that we've talked about a lot of the closures. I'd forgotten there was one in the mall food court. I just walked by it like a month ago when I was hanging out at the mall. And I don't remember the last time I've had Long John Silver's, but it was good. It was a good little change of pace from the usual fast food fare.
AI is claiming there are a little over 370 Long John Silver's locations remaining. The chain has shuttered more than 700 restaurants since 2008.
Yeah. Wasn't there one in Golden Valley for a while on 55? I feel like there was one on Golden.
Seriously?
I thought so. People can correct me.
I don't remember that. For the record, Iowa still has 9 locations.
Iowa.
That's
interesting.
Missouri has 17 if you want to make the drive, including the Kansas City and St. Louis metro area. So, but here, we're too good for it here. We're
Apparently
too healthy.
It didn't work here. Yeah.
We're too healthy. Oh, it's fried. It's bad for you.
We don't like the bucket of grease.
Of course it's bad for you, but what you do is you don't eat it often, right? You just every once in a while as a delicacy, you do it. But
is that what you would get? Because you always mentioned the drive to Chicago.
Yes.
You would stop there, and that's what you would get on your drive?
Correct.
A lot of times?
Well, by then, I don't even think they had the same menu items.
Right.
I don't remember them having peg legs any longer, which devastated me. So I think I went with fish because I'm not. Or they had. Well, you know what? Also, they did have what they call chicken planks, right?
They're
so you
clever.
couldn't get the drummies.
Yeah.
But you could get the planks. And my guess is, I don't remember what it was called at that point. I probably got a combo of the fish and the planks.
That is a really good combo store.
Yeah,
Long John Silver's and A&W.
Unbelievable. It's amazing. Anyway,
A&W is still hanging on, thank God.
They are. That's true.
And I love the drive up.
Let's make this a top of the hour break. I'm going to add, Lindsay Whalen loves food. We've talked about food with her many, many times on the show over the years, right? She's a comfort food gal. So I'm going to guess she may have occasionally had a little LJS. We'll find out, and we'll talk Lynx basketball and who knows what else with one of our favorites, Lindsay Whalen, back on the show for the first time in a while. Stay tuned.